Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Because look at Gaga. She's the creative director of Polaroid. I like some of the Gaga songs. What the fuck does she know about cameras?
It actually really upsets me that this generation will never get to experience the Gaga of 2010 because she was just something else. And I'm just like, can we talk about her? Because we have seen her grow in ways that I don't think we've seen other artists grow. Think about it. In just over a decade, she's worn a meat dress. She's been a jazz crooner alongside Tony Bennett, an Oscar award-winning actress, and now a luxury beauty mogul. But here's what most people miss. Each transformation wasn't a random artistic expression. Each one was actually a calculated response to a specific career crisis. At 38 years old, she's not just survived multiple career pivots, she's used them to escape what you can call as career death traps that have ended other artists. So right now her net worth sits at 320 million, built not through one successful era, but through mastering the art of strategic reinvention when her back was against the wall. So whether you love her music or not, her approach to personal branding is a perfect case study in using transformation as a survival tool. And it's something that we can learn as well, because as we're growing in our personal lives and our professional lives, we have to adapt, we have to rebrand. So today we're breaking down exactly why Lady Gaga had to rebrand and how she turned each crisis into her next empire. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. So let's start with why Gaga needed to rebrand in the first place. By 2013, she had painted herself into pretty much of a corner. The outrageous costumes, the shock value, the constant need to out-weird herself. It was unsustainable. Of course, we loved it, but at some point it was like, what is coming next? So art pop absolutely flopped, right? Critics were calling her a one-trick pony. The meat dress that made her famous had become almost of this weird prism. Audiences expected bigger, weirder, more shocking, and she was running out of ways to shock people. That's the thing with controversial marketing or doing something for the shock value. It gets to a point where it's like, how far will you go? So worse, one could argue that she was becoming a parody of herself. Saturday Night Live sketches, internet memes, she wasn't controlling the narrative anymore. The brand that had made her famous was almost suffocating her artistic credibility. And this is the classic pop star death spiral. You become known for the gimmick, then you become trapped by that gimmick, then you have to become irrelevant because the gimmicks have expiration dates. Right? Gaga saw the writing on the wall, which is why I believe it makes her so brilliant, because she is so multi-talented, right? And I think a lot of people just assumed, oh, she's the person that wears the crazy outfits. She's the person that just does this. But actually, she said, I'm going to show you the other side. So instead of trying to outshock her previous self, Gaga decided to completely do the unexpected. She went in the opposite direction. The Tony Bennett collaboration was just a calculated credibility play. She was saying, hey, I've got another side to me that you have no idea about. Surprise. She borrowed Bennett's 60 plus years of musical legitimacy to reframe herself as the serious artist rather than the pop gimmick that some people felt she was. So when a legend like Bennett basically vouches for your vocal ability, it's harder for critics to dismiss you as just costumes and controversy. Right? That's why a lot of brands partner with certain influencers. That's why certain influencers partner with certain brands. It's that association and what it does to be associated with that brand. You become a luxury, you become a premium brand. It does a lot, basically. So the deeper side to it is the jazz album served as a bridge. They allowed her to keep her existing fan base while attracting an entirely different demographic. Older, more sophisticated audiences who had written her off as just frivolous pop. So this was a bit of brand rehabilitation. Instead of fighting the she's just a gimmick narrative head on, she made it irrelevant by proving she could succeed in a completely different genre that demands pure talent. None of the costumes, none of all of that. It is just you, your voice, and the stage. Now, after establishing the vocal credibility with Bennett, Gaga faced another problem. She was still seen as too pop, too New York to break into certain markets. Country and American audiences simply weren't buying what she was selling. The Joanne era solved this. The stripped down aesthetic, the country influences, the less extravagant makeup, the personal storytelling about her late aunt. This wasn't just artistic expression. This was expanding her market, expanding her pool. We talk about mass appeal and the danger of it. Basically how, if you're trying to be like Drake, where you're appealing to everyone, it does work. And then there gets to a point where sometimes it doesn't, because people are like, what do you stand for? Who do you stand for? But then there's the other side where you're so niche, it just doesn't work. So you do need to start doing stuff that can appeal to more people. So she literally wore cowboy hats and played dive bars to prove she could connect with audiences beyond, I guess, the coastal cities. And that's where things just started to get really interesting, because despite all of that, she still didn't necessarily abandon her original person or who she was originally. I don't think she was faking who she was in the beginning. I think it was just a different side to her. As we know, she got bullied when she was a kid, and then you feel like you have to wear this mask. So that was her mask. That was how she felt comfortable expressing her creativity while kind of hiding parts of who she was, because she wasn't ready to be fully whole. And that's my interpretation anyway. So by 2016, Gaga was facing the reality that every pop star eventually confronts. Pop careers have expiration dates, right? And I say this to clarify. My last video was on Taylor Swift, and I said that Taylor Swift's brand is becoming immortal. Her brand is becoming immortal. I didn't say her music is immortal. So even with successful rebrands, the music industry relevance is very temporary. She needed a more permanent platform, and I was so excited when I heard that she got into the acting world. So that's when A Star Is Born came about. And it wasn't just about wanting to act. Everyone wants to act, but trust me, boy oh boy, there are so many people who do not know how to act. Acting careers can last 50 plus years. I mean, look at Denzel Washington. Look at so many other people in their 70s, 80s who are still acting. It's one of those things where there is a role for you, right? And I just love when someone can act as well as sing. I'm just like, amazing. So when she won the Oscar, she didn't just become a legitimate actress. She became one of the rare EGOT threats, right? The Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, the Tony. This transformed her from the pop star trying to act to serious entertainer who also happens to make pop music. So after establishing herself as this credible actress, again, credible, emphasizing on credible. What makes her credible? I guess you could say the awards that she won, and obviously associating herself with high value people. Because then she was in The Joker, a film watched by millions, a film loved by millions. She wasn't doing any low level stuff here. She came in with a bang. And the timing to me just made a lot of sense. So why does Gaga's rebrands work? Each one solved a specific psychological problem with audiences, because look, she's just the shock value was the problem in the beginning. Then she did the jazz albums that proved artistic depth. She's too pop and urban, so then she introduced Joanne, which showed her range and her relatability. She's not a real actress, and then she starred in A Star Is Born and earned critical respect. Each transformation directly addressed the biggest criticism of the previous era. She didn't run around saying, oh my God, no, I am an actress. Oh my God, like I do this. She didn't need to say much. She just did the act. She just did what she had to do. Too many people talk the talk, they don't walk the walk, right? And the numbers tell you everything. When art pop underperformed, Gaga's brand value was declining. Each successful rebrand opened new revenue streams, right? The jazz albums opened the adult contemporary market and lucrative Vegas residencies. The acting created opportunities for film salaries, award considerations, and soundtrack sales. Beauty, well, we all know her beauty collaborations, that built a recurring revenue business that doesn't depend on hit songs. She has been able to diversify her income sources thoroughly to the point where she's now, I guess one could argue, recession proof. If pop music changes, she has jazz. If music fails, she has acting. If entertainment struggles, she can tap into the beauty. She has amazing skin. This is the modern celebrity business model. Don't just be an entertainer, be a platform that can support multiple industries. So what exactly can we learn from this? Number one, identify the limitation of your current brand position. Number two, find the opposite demographic market that limitation prevents you from reaching. Number three, make a dramatic pivot that proves you can succeed in this space. Emphasis on proves. Use that credibility to return to your original space with more respect. Monetize the expanded brand through new business ventures. Okay, because what's pretty interesting from my perspective on Gaga's approach is how much she risked with each pivot. Nothing new comes without risk. Alienating your core fan base to chase new audiences is usually career suicide. Most artists play it safe once they find success. But Gaga understood something really important. Staying the same was actually riskier than changing. Pop culture moves so fast, and yesterday's innovation becomes tomorrow's new shift. So she chose controlled evolution over inevitable irrelevance. So what am I saying? As much as alienating your core fan base can be risky, staying in the same lane can be risky. So be honest with your audience about your moves. Like, guys, we're currently struggling in this area. This is how we want to develop. Take them on that journey. But those are my thoughts on Gaga and her rebrands. So much has happened in her career that there's probably so much that I missed. But leave a few comments and questions in the comment section. Let me know your favorite Gaga moment and let's get talking. If you like this video, please do subscribe.